Right. Really good competitive practice from the guys today. Finished off with a really competitive red zone period. Really solid, but can open it up from there.
You have a chance to look back at the scrimmage, just what stood out and what do you want to see differently this week?
Like I said, kind of coming off the field, same scenario. We got to get better at our operation. We've really attacked that the last couple days. I think that's really good. We got to keep incorporating more crowd noise for our guys so they get used to that. So we had some of that today, which was a positive.
Why did you feel like you needed crowd noise today?
Just because we're going to play in some loud stadiums, and our stadium's a loud stadium. When our defense is out there, right, the coach-to-player communication is a little bit different. How are you going to use that, and what's that going to look like on the field?
Does it feel like the guys are comfortable enough with the playbook that now it's just making sure that you guys can communicate that in that setting?
Yeah, most of our stuff's in. We still have a couple things that we're adding, but for the most part, the playbook's the playbook, and there's a couple wrinkles here and there, but certainly room to improve.
How close are you to getting into more scheme stuff for week one and still focusing on yourself?
Yeah, we're not there yet. We still got some time before then.
Dan, can you speak to your relationship with Jordan James and how it's evolved over the years?
Yeah, just he's a guy that every single practice, him and I both challenge each other. What's this practice going to look like from an energy standpoint, from an effort? The guy just plays hard, right? He's kind of really quiet, right? If you guys get a chance to talk to him, it'll be interesting to see if you can hear what he says, right? But when he plays really loud. And I appreciate a guy that plays loud, brings the energy every single day, runs hard, runs tough. He's that guy that has toughness.
What have you seen from Trayshawn from getting into the team with last year and then his growth from last year to this year?
Yeah, just biggest piece that we're talking with Trey on every single play is what's the next play, right? Great last play, what's the next play? Bad last play, what's the next play? And he's done a really good job of that, embracing that the last few days, and having that mentality. I think he's been really strong to the ball this year, done a good job snatching it and attacking it, and then when he's had opportunities to block, he's blocked hard.
What about his leadership role and how he's kind of taking that on?
Yeah, I mean, his best leadership role for us is when he goes out there and puts it on the field every single day, and then how he affects the people around him. And those days that he does that, it makes our team really tough to stop.
What have you seen from Evan Stewart so far in this camp and how he's kind of improved from spring to fall?
Yeah, highs and lows, and he would be the same person to tell you that, but I think there's a lot of positive there with Evan, the way he attacks the ball. Like I've said, I think after the spring, he's one of the best at attacking the ball in the air. Certainly has speed, right, and continue to look for him to ramp it up and elevate his game for us.
Yesterday, Tony highlighted Amari Washington as a guy that just made plays in the scrimmage. Can you just speak to just his development from when he showed up last year to now where he's kind of at?
Yeah, I always think one of the biggest transitions for defensive line is how they use their hands at the line of scrimmage, and that's something that's really shown up for Amari. He's got a powerful punch, and when he's able to play in the backfield, it's going to be really disruptive to an opponent.
What are your thoughts on just that whole group of guys that came in last year and kind of how they've kind of progressed now?
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of growth from that group, whether it's Amari or Michael. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have stepped up and done a good job of elevating their game and put themselves in position to help us.
The amount of team speed you guys have on both sides, Sam, but on kickoff return specifically, what do you hope to see out of that group, not just before the season, but once the season arrives, what do you want to see from that group that maybe at times was missing at times? And yes, it's limited opportunities. Bucky got it in bowl games, but what do you want to see more from them this year?
Probably starts with the decision making back there, right? Making good decisions. Fair catch is sometimes a win in kickoff return, right? Because you're going to start with the ball at the 25. But ultimately great decision makers, and then we got to be able to block guys up front. The hardest job in football is being a front line guy on KOR and having to run back 30 yards and then turn around and block somebody. So we have to get good at that and have to train that.
Taylor was talking about for the receiver group that they've kind of adapted this Ubuntu reference from the Celtics. Didn't know how much of that came from you and Corey, if at all, or if that was strictly a junior thing. Or
yeah, that's something Junior, had, and I think he's used before with his wide receiver groups. But I think it's an awesome concept, and the guys really bought into what it means and how it can help our team.
Rashad talked about incorporating 3 or 4 running backs. Have you kind of seen that develop in terms of the running back depth there?
Yeah, I think we have multiple guys that can play winning football. And that's kind of what we talk about, above the line, below the line, and I think we have multiple guys there that can help us.
Talk about wanting your players to play fast once they know the playbook and stuff. We know how fast Devon Jackson is. How have you been seeing him be able to play faster this year now that he knows the scheme a little bit more?
Yeah, I think Devon is a completely different player than when he got here, right? And I've said that before about, he's always been a fast guy, right? But fast the wrong direction doesn't help you. Now he's fast in the right direction. So lots of positive with Devon. Expect him to continue to grow to help us.
It's kind of the importance in the real-life application of establishing a pipeline and recruiting, Dan, and particularly when you talk about like in Southern California, where this program for close to the last 10 years has probably recruited modern day not as well as anybody in the country. How do you go about as a staff instilling that and keeping that, and what the importance of that is?
Yeah, I think anytime in recruiting it's about relationships and it's about time invested, right? And 1+1+1. And certainly when you start getting some guys from a certain area that have connections with each other, a lot of those guys want to be able to play together and see what you're building. So if we can continue to do a good job of adding those ones together, whether it's identification, whether it's the relationship, whether it's getting them on campus, like all those things add up and equate to wins in recruiting.